All right, welcome everyone to the second edition of this Coffee at Inbound 2025 San Francisco Inbound. A pretty amazing show so far with Paul Schmidt from SmartBug this morning again, the dynamic duo. This is becoming tradition. We're going to go through a few topics in this quick video, but I want to start, Paul, by asking you if you've been hearing some topics or some trends from the people that you've seen around the show floor and what they have in mind and what they're thinking about.
Yeah, I think some of the big topics that we're hearing this year, obviously you can't go to a single session without hearing about AI 37 times. But I think the topic that I continue to talk with folks about is, how are they thinking about taking that first step with using AI in their organization? There's a number of different ways that people are thinking about it. Like some people are thinking about this huge grandiose plans of how are they going to layer in AI across the organization. Some folks are thinking, I just need to train my team up, and some folks are just talking about, I just want to see this prove some value in my organization. So I think one of the things that I think what I'm hearing even more and more about is just how getting the quick win of using AI within your organization. And I think that's where most folks are kind of like leaning towards right now. They're not thinking about just developing this massive AI strategy, but they're thinking about initially just like, how can I prove some value to my marketing team, my sales team, my service team? How do I just do that? And so that's really what I'm hearing a lot about. And I think what most customers are kind of thinking about is like, hey, if I can solve these like problems that solve for like doing a very mundane type of task or something that just takes a lot of time to do, that's where I'm seeing the most interest right now and how folks are thinking about using. Then whether it's new HubSpot tooling or just like AI in general, that's really what I'm hearing more about. What are you kind of thinking about on that topic as it relates to AI?
Yeah, pretty similar to things. So you said something to me earlier today that I think is really the way to go. And basically you said, if you can identify, maybe have a quick ask questions to your employees. What are the most annoying, painful part of your work that you have to do, kind of gather that and see, are there specific maybe AI functionalities that can help with that? Or that could really be a good entry point to just get started and show your team that there really is value. It actually makes their job hopefully more fun or more engaging, or, they have to work on things that are just globally more engaging. So yeah, that's what I think about. Start small, little things, functionalities before actual big implementation of everything. Start small and then build on top of that. So
Yeah, so one thing I wanted to kind of you've been going to a lot of sessions this week, Sam, and number of different speakers. You've been hearing some different tactics every year. A lot of speakers sharing kind of things that are working, not working. Within all the sessions that you've learned, what are 3 or 4 different tips that you feel like are really things that you would love to go implement with your team in the coming weeks?
yeah, that's a good one. And I took some notes because I wanted to make sure to share that properly. And every time I go to Inbound as a HubSpot correspondent, I do want to share these kind of things. So it makes a lot of sense. Yesterday, towards the end of the day, I went to a session given by Nancy Harrett. And basically the title of the session was 9 counterintuitive tactics smart marketers can exploit. So what she did is literally list 9 tactics that feel like you should not be doing that. But when she explained, it all made sense. And you marketers out there will relate with these, I'm pretty sure. So I'm just going to go through a few because I think they're kind of interesting. But the first one would be to advertise your shortcomings. So basically, if things aren't perfect all the time, use that in your communications because that could make you more relatable in some cases. I mean, be careful what you say and how you say it, but don't try to be perfect all the time, every time. That won't always help you. So that one is kind of interesting. Shout in your subject lines is something that she was saying. And that's kind of, oh my gosh, I don't want to do that. But basically what she meant is, for example, using some caps in your subject lines, here and there, 1 word or 2 words or something like that, basically going for that contrast between words can really help you. So it's, again, kind of counterintuitive, but definitely something to try. Deliberately use wrong words or spelling. So play with words, of course. Don't make typos that are just bad. But like, for example, one example was JEAN-ius for a brand of jeans. So JEAN ius instead of the regular genius. So kind of playing with words a little bit. Ask for just a small purchase. So depending on what you're selling, what your industry is, in some cases, it might be interesting. Instead of going for like the big sell, right? Start small with just a little tiny something that will get your foot through the door, because once the first sell is made, it's usually kind of easier to kind of grow and build on top of that. So that was another one. And also another one that I like is limit the amount that people can buy.
Hmm.
So again, in some cases it's going to work. In some other cases it will not work, but it's very interesting. Kind of like with kids, you're going to tell them, you cannot do this or you cannot have this, right? What's the first thing they're going to do? Try to
Ask
get
for
that
it.
thing. Yeah, exactly. So there was a bunch of these kind of tactics. I'm probably going to go and try some of these in my communications and my emails. Some of them work for me, some of them don't, but they were pretty interesting for that for sure. All right.
I like that.
So you want to switch to HubSpot products, maybe?
Yeah, let's dive into this next. So, for this last segment, I just love to talk about, HubSpot launched a lot of different product this year across hubs, so many different new tools, as well as a lot of updates and embedding of AI and a lot of different functionality. Sam, as you think about the next 30 days and all the new product that came out, what's something you're going to implement in the next 30 days for your team that you hope helps move the needle?
Yeah, that's a good question. And I'm not quite sure exactly yet, honestly. There were a lot of changes, a lot of adjustments in how products are packaged, the campaigns, Marketing Studio. There's a lot of these things that look very, very interesting. Marketing Studio is definitely one that I have in mind as my marketer background. I love the campaigns in HubSpot. I haven't played much with the journeys yet. And I think I'll probably go in there and kind of try to maximize this area of the tool. But Paul, do you have more details for me in terms of what kind of that Marketing Studio now might bring, or how it changes maybe how the tools are organized and work?
Yeah, the Marketing Studio, that's a big shift in how campaigns are structured and set up and visualized with inside of HubSpot. And I think that is going to be, that's something that we, as part of our inbound planning process, we've already started using Marketing Studio. And what Marketing Studio is sort of you can think of it like a Miro-like experience that allows you to visually see what are all the different assets that you're going to have within your campaign. And I really like how this is set up, because when you're trying to collaborate with teams, especially like hybrid or remote teams, like what, you don't have a whiteboard together around. So how do you plan this visually? It makes it, so everybody can provide feedback or ideas, or they can see the connection between the different assets. So I love the new layout of Marketing Studio. I think this is going to get people using just the campaign functionality a lot more than they have in the past. The other two updates that I'm looking forward to in the next 30 days, the first one is AI email. I don't know the exact functionality. Essentially what this is that if you're using Prospecting Agent today, this essentially can help you write personalized emails. And that the more personalized emails that you can write, the more context that you have in your email, the higher likelihood people are going to pay attention, because it doesn't look like this generic canned email. AI-powered email is essentially a module that you can put in a prompt that will then, if you're sending out a marketing email, it'll personalize this part of the email for every single marketing email that goes out. And I think this is huge, because I think people get so much email, and I think the more personalized that you can make a marketing email, I think the higher likelihood that people are going to pay attention when it comes into their inbox.
To loop back to our initial discussion, could that be a good way to start testing with AI a little bit, or is it too much, you think, for the first AI tests, in your opinion?
That's a great question. I would definitely explore this as part of one of your first tests. If you're saying, hey, what are the new HubSpot updates I should be exploring, immediately with my team? Start with a small campaign. Start with maybe 10, 20, or just do it to your internal team even at the beginning. You don't need to, I probably wouldn't send it to 80,000 people to begin with. You test it out. Try it with your team first. See, based on the context that HubSpot has, like how personalized and how useful that is before you kind of scale it out. So that would be my big win and product that I'm planning on releasing and using with my team in the coming weeks. Sam, is there anything else that you want to share product-wise that you're excited about rolling out with the team?
Well, we've got a lot of data. We've got that in tons. So we've got integrations, things like that. So we need to kind of be careful a little bit how we treat that data, but all the new updates and how the data hub now, right? The Operations Hub is Data Hub. It's going to help me and my team for sure just gradually get that data more clean. I've heard about that auto deduplication functionality, and I'm pretty excited for that, honestly. Definitely going to look into it. But these things are also just going to help globally the company, honestly. So that's going to be interesting. But otherwise, that's pretty much it for my part, for me, for this video. Paul, any last word or any last wish to the people?
Well, this has been a fun year in San Francisco, and I'm catching up with the whole crew and catching up with old friends and my friend Sam, the correspondent. We look forward to being back next year at Inbound 26. I hear it's going to be in Boston. So we're looking forward to that. Thank you, everybody, for joining us this week, and we will see you next time.